Well, hello folks. This is just going to be a much shorter video than the last two on Hammer Horror, but it's about the business of collecting Hammer on DVD and also some of the books, which are somewhat tricky to get hold of. For some reason, the Hammer fandom goes in for a lot of limited releases where they make things really very difficult to get. Limited runs of 6,000, or for example, in the case of these, they had a run and then they're impossible to get. This film, for example, came out in the cinema and then it was never actually released. So there's all sorts of things that make Hammer quite hard to get hold of, especially if you're here in the UK. Now, I will say that the regions of the various Blu-rays and the DVDs do make a difference here. If you're in America, there's a company called Shout Factory that has brought out a lot of the Hammer DVDs. Those ones aren't available here, although I have read that US Blu-rays do work here, but post now is extremely prohibitive, the cost of post to bring them over here. So unless they're already in the country, you can buy them on eBay, for example. The Shout Factory ones aren't a goer for most of us unless you're literally made of money. I mean, I've got some money, friends, but not that much money to pay for individual Shout Factory DVDs. So the whole business of collecting Hammer, really you have to delineate where you're going to start, what you're going to get, what's in focus, what's out of focus. Now, my spreadsheet, which I made available on my big guide, which I released on Wednesday, which I'd encourage you to check out. I have put a link to the previous two videos in the show notes, and on the first video you'll find the spreadsheet. Now, on that spreadsheet you can filter in all sorts of different ways. If you take out the comedies, which I doubt anybody's going to want to collect. If you're into Hammer, you're not really looking to get, Up the Creek, for example, or Watch It Sailor, for example. So you take out the frivolous comedies that crop up in the 50s there, or on the buses, things like that. Take out the comedies, take out any dramas that are there, and that basically leaves you with the horrors, the thrillers, the adventure films, maybe take out action as well, unless you really want to see shatter, just take out action. It leaves you with about 89 films. And then there's a case, well, do you want them all, or do you just want the core ones, the important ones? And really the best way of thinking about how to collect them is via the distributor, because each distributor, James Carreras, being a business genius as he was, couldn't have foreseen the DVD market or the video market in years to come. So when he gave the distribution deals to Fox, Warner, etc., he also sold the ongoing distribution rights, for future media, which meant that the ones with Fox stayed with Fox, the ones with Warner stayed with Warner's, etc. Now, in this country, it's a little bit less complicated, I guess, because I think a lot of their films were distributed locally by Lionsgate, I think it was. So that means that more of them are on the same label here, but still you have to go to different companies for different films. It's especially a pain when it comes to Dracula and Frankenstein, because those are the ones that were shipped out to Universal, some of the later ones with Warner's, etc. So what is the best way to delineate? Well, the first thing is that the Columbia deal, do you remember I mentioned they had the 5 Columbia deal, where they had 5 films a year with Columbia co-produced, And it just so happens that all of those films are available on these gorgeous box sets that were brought out by Indicator, Powerhouse I think they're called, in limited edition of 6,000. You can see I've got number 3412 here. Now, because these are limited edition, they're actually quite hard to get hold of, and in some places they'll be charging upwards of £150 for these. Now, I can tell you, friends, exclusively, because I'm a world-class researcher, I did not pay more than £40 for any of these. Some of them I even paid less than £40. Where there's a will, there's a way. Ain't that right, Rodney? It's also what my old man used to say to me. So if you're intrepid, you can still find these for a reasonably low price, £40 or less, if you're in the UK. And I got all of these within the space of a couple of days, and they all arrived the next day. So it is possible. Maybe after I put this video out, maybe less so. But basically, if you count, there's 4 on each of these box sets, and 4 times 6 is what? 24. So 24 Columbia movies there. Pretty much all of the Columbia films they did, apart from, I believe, the Robin Hood one, which is in a separate box set. If you want the Robin Hood, there's a separate kind of double box set with the 2 Robin Hood movies. I'm not really interested in the Hammer Robin Hood, I have to be honest, so I haven't collected those. These ones will do. Now, one of the things about these limited edition box sets is that they're absolutely packed with extras. There's absolutely tons of interviews and documentaries and audio commentaries and extras there, which actually are pretty good because they feature that cast of characters, those historians, Julian Rigby and the like, you know, the crew of Hammer nerds. So they're particularly good because they feature my favourite DVD extra team on basically all of these. There's a few where Wayne Kinsey comes in, but he's an even bigger nerd. He's the guy who wrote these books here. So if you can get hold of these are the best in class, the creme de la creme for the Columbia years, the early 60s, okay? If you can't get hold of the box sets, they are available from Powerhouse in the individuals, right? But of course, buying 24 individual DVDs for a tenner each is going to set you back, what, 240 quid? 4 of these for £40. 6 of those for 40, but I mean, it could probably work out about the same. Probably work out about the same, to be honest. Especially if they've got a sale on at the moment, or they did have a sale on last I checked at Powerhouse, so you could actually do it for cheaper buying them individually. But anyway, those are all the Columbia films. I should mention the original Curse of Frankenstein, Dracula, and where's the other one here? I would say The Mummy, for whatever reason, are not part of any sets that I could find. Right, so you have to get these 3 originals on their own like that. In these, they do these double plays, they're called double plays, brought out by, there you can see it was for Lionsgate, and who is the distributor of these? Lionsgate, I want to say. You can see, like, it's the same crew on the DVDs. Marcus Hearn, Julian Rigby. So it's the same guys on these extras that are on these extras. So it makes for, even though it's coming out with a different company, it's basically the same people, which makes for some nice continuity across all these sets. So yeah, now for some reason, I don't know why they do this. Maybe some film nerd can explain to me. They bring out these double plays where you get the Blu-ray and then there's a DVD version as well. Basically all the contents on the Blu-ray are available on the DVD. Why you'd want that, I don't know, because presumably you just play the DVD. I mean, do they release this for people who don't have a Blu-ray player? in which case, why are they buying a Blu-ray in the first place? So I don't quite understand the thinking behind the double play. Maybe there's some logic to it that, you know, collectors may be able to explain to me. So you have to get those three individually, but then basically you can then think, well, from Columbia, you would then go to the 7 Arts, the Warner 7 Arts, Fox deal, the Fox 7 Arts deal years. Oh yeah, there is also the small matter of the Universal years. And it just so happens that this set here, the Hammer Horror 8-film collection, rather usefully collects all of the Universal films in one place. Now, I will say that there are some doublers here. So Brides of Dracula does not appear on the big box sets there. So that's where you can get Brides of Dracula. Evil of Frankenstein, this is the only place I have that. Kiss of the Vampire is not on any of the other sets. And I think maybe Nightmare. Nightmare is not available. Oh no, I do have Nightmare somewhere else. Okay, so those three, Evil of Frankenstein, Brides of Dracula, Kiss of the Vampire, and Paranoiac maybe. Paranoiac. So those are the 4 films from Universal that I couldn't find anywhere else, but that are available on this set here. I think this came in on a US import. You can see it's from Universal itself. But yes, kind of useful to have them all in one place. Now I did end up rather foolishly buying another set which has the same Universal films on it. So you can, this is where it gets quite confusing. There's this set as well. Hammer 4 films. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb, Scream of Fear, The Gorgon, and The 2 Faces of Dr. Jekyll. No extras or anything. And I basically, all of those films are on these sets in superior quality with tons more extras. So this was basically a waste of money for me. But I got it before I discovered these sets. It was already in the mail. So that's what happened there. So yeah, don't fall into that trap. What else? Yeah, the Mummy Shroud, for some reason, if you're collecting the Mummy films, also you have to get separately. And it's the same crew on the extras there. But for some reason the Mummy Shroud is not available on the other sets. So anyway, easiest thing to do then, you've got Columbia sorted, you've got Universal sorted, and you've got the 3 early classics sorted. So then we're moving into the 7 Arts years and the deal with Fox. And basically all of those films are collected on this 21 disc DVD set by Studio Canal. Now I've got it's a DVD set, but they are in high definition. They are pretty nice quality, and more importantly, many of them come with extras and things from basically the same team. The same team who did all these. So they basically work together as a set, right? So I don't know what calculations we're doing, but we've got 3 here, another 4 here, which makes 7, 24 there, 21 here. So 21 and 24 is 45, plus another 4, 49, 50, 51, 52. So we have 52 of all of our films there. So where this gets a little bit annoying is that certain films in this set, there was an older set called the Ultimate Hammer Collection. And for some reason on this set, some of the films are the older version with no extras or anything, and some of the films are the new version with the kind of deluxe DVD extra crew, you know, Jonathan Rigby and friends. But that crew did, for example, with The Devil Rides Out, they did put together a version with Studio Canal. They just didn't bother putting it on there. Or another example is the Scars of Dracula, which I found in HMV. The Scars of Dracula on there is an old version. The one on here has got Inside Scars of Dracula documentary on it with the same crew, basically. Okay, so yeah, there's a couple of little annoyances, but in general, this is the set you want. So then pretty much you're there. You've got most of the films, apart from, rather annoyingly, due to various legal wranglings, you don't have lots of the Frankenstein films, and you don't have most of the Dracula films. Now, the Frankenstein films, for whatever reason, I found more difficult to collect than the Draculas. The Revenge of Frankenstein is in a beautiful edition here, so that's the second one. The Evil of Frankenstein is on this one, so that's the third one. And then we've got Frankenstein Created Woman on there, and the Horror of Frankenstein on there. But we're missing the absolutely fantastic Frankenstein Must Be Destroyed, and we're also missing Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell. And for whatever reason, both of those are extremely expensive on the Blu-rays that I tried to find. So I ended up watching them on Amazon Prime, where they're available in good quality, no extras or anything, obviously, but they are available. So I got 2 digital copies for the last 2 Frankensteins, which is a little bit annoying, but you know, when you're getting DVDs, you don't really want to be paying like £50 for one DVD of a film like Frankenstein and the Monster from Hell, especially if there's limited extras on there, etc. So yeah, that's Frankenstein. For Dracula, there's the first Dracula. The Bride's Dracula is on here. That's the second Dracula, right? Third one is the Dracula Prince of Darkness, which is actually on here. Then we've got Dracula Has Risen from the Grave. I just got a bog standard DVD of that. Couldn't find a decent Blu-ray edition. Very kind of bare bones, doesn't have any extras or anything, but it does the job. Okay. Taste the Bug of Dracula, the same, bare bones DVD. Now, for some reason, these movies are out with Warner's, I think it is. Yeah, Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers don't seem to believe in DVD extras, extra packaging, audio commentaries. They just release bare bones. And the DVDs, as far as I've seen, are just bare bones. It's just like, oh, well, here's the film in Blu-ray quality, nothing else. So Warner's letting the side down. The other company's fantastic. Warner's shite. But still, I have copies of these films. So yeah, I mean, Taste the Blood of Dracula is the 5th one. What happened in the Dracula series after that? Then, bizarrely, I've got Scars of Dracula twice somewhere, if I can find them. Yeah, so there's Scars of Dracula, which I showed you. It's got the extras on it. This is a Studio Canal version, which is nice. I also have Scars of Dracula on there. So this is the slightly annoying thing, you know, you've got Dracula Prince of Darkness and Scars of Dracula, but you're missing these two because they came out with Warner's. really irritating. And it doesn't have the extras, so I ended up getting the Scars of Dracula again. And then there's just the two modern ones, or the three modern ones. Dracula AD 1972. Again, it's Blu-ray, but being Warner's, there's bugger all on it. Yeah, it includes theatrical trailer. Satanic Rites of Dracula. Again, Blu-ray. But Warner's just don't believe in extras or anything, so there's bugger all on it. Yeah, special theatrical trailer. Thanks, Warner Brothers. And then finally, we've got a Signal 1 version of The Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, starring Julie Edge. And again, bugger all on there. But at least I've got Dracula complete, okay? So pretty much, oh yeah, and then we've got, if you want to collect the Mummy films, you see this is a slightly annoying thing, that's why I'm doing this video. They're not available all together, right? They're not, there's no like Dracula set or Mummy set. You have to kind of get them, you know, disparately. But with the Mummy, you've got the original there. Second Mummy, I think, is there. Curse of the Mummy's Tomb. Gorgeous looking film in this Blu-ray. I mean, really, B-movie like that. So many gubbins and DVD extras and things. Pretty impressive considering the movie. Then we've got Mummy's Shroud, which has got this extra. Quite why it wasn't included on the main set, I don't know. Probably a distribution thing again. Just going to blame Warner Brothers. I feel like it's Warner Brothers' fault somewhere along the line. That was John Gilling's last film, Mummy's Shroud. Also the last film at Bray Studios, so of historical importance. And then the final Mummy film, is that one here? Is that the one with Valerie Leon on it? Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. There you go. The one with Valerie Leon on it. And in fact, I think she appears on the extras as well, if I'm not mistaken. So that is that. Mummy obviously is very much the third of those three franchises, but if you're interested. And then really the only thing left to get beyond that would be basically the late sleazy kind of lesbian vampire 70s stuff, much beloved of the horror nerds and proper horror show, etc. As you heard yesterday. And basically I've got all of these here. So again, slightly annoyingly, there's no Karnstein trilogy box set, but there is this old Hammer House of Horror Vampire collection, which somewhat weirdly has Countess Dracula, Twins of Evil and Vampire Circus. So three actually not connected films. And it was brought up by Carlton. Bare bones, no extras or anything. I'm pretty sure Twins of Evil has got a kind of bells and whistles Blu-ray. But given that I already had it on this, I thought there was no point. You know, but if you want to get those more kind of interesting 70s ones, then there's, for the Karnstein trilogy, The Vampire Lovers, Ingrid Pitt. There's a documentary on there. There's our crew look, Marcus Hearn and Jonathan Rigby. There's my boys. That's what you want to see, basically. You want to see those two. They're your extra crew. Then we've got Lust for a Vampire, which is the second one in the Karnstein trilogy. There you go. There's our featurette, Hammer in 1970. I'm pretty sure it'll be those two again. And we've got Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde, of course. on a special edition double feature Blu-ray, brought out by Studio Canal. I think I actually bought this in store. I saw it in HMV and picked it up, although I did not pay £12.99 for it. I'm pretty sure I got it on that 2 for £15 deal thing. But yeah, it's a featurette on there as well, and it's my boys, Rigby and Hearn, yet again. Absolute whores they are for the DVD extra. And then I paid £3 from this odd little website where I was looking for rare films for this Hammer Horror The Warner Brothers Years from 2018. Special documentary made by the lads, made by Hearn and Rigby and friends, looking at the late Hammer era after they had finished with this deal with the Seven Arts, and they were with Warner's and EMI and various other partnerships. And I haven't watched this yet because it only came today, so I've got that to do, but I'll be watching that with interest. And then there's a couple of other little things. A fan's guide to Hammer House of Horror, that's got all the usual guys on it as well. I have to say, absolute waste of money, rubbish. This World of Hammer, which is special, it's narrated by Oliver Reed, and it was a kind of set of documentaries that Hammer put out themselves, you know, on various different themes. Now, basically every single one of these, I'm pretty sure, appears somewhere or other as an extra on these discs between them somewhere. They just kind of crop up as an extra feature, but yeah, it's kind of handy having them. They're kind of a bit light, those documentaries, but they're 20-30 minutes to, you know, on a particular theme, and they've got Oliver Reed narrating. So, and then if you're wondering where I got those contracts and things from, it's in this rather interesting book by David Pirrie, Hammer: A Cinematic Case Study. You can see it came with this folder, and this folder has got all of these extra materials there, which was pretty interesting. I don't see this cited much in the literature, and I can't actually remember what I paid for it either, but it was just one of those things. I thought, well, I needed something to give me an edge on the film, on my definitive guide, so I got this. In terms of the books, really these are the three you want. Hammer Films, the Bray Studio years, Hammer Films, the Elstree Studio years, and especially this one, the Unsung Heroes. This is fantastic, this Unsung Heroes book. But like these, they were printed in limited editions, so they're bloody hard to get hold of, and they cost a pretty penny too. I think I ended up getting all three of these from eBay. This one on a US import. And they all cost as much as these sets, just say. These ones did. But they really are probably the best resources. I mean, the level of detail in Unsung Heroes is incredible, but also in these. I mean, he goes through scene by scene and tells you which stage they were set. You know, it's just mind-blowing level of detail. And one of the things I've noticed is that the Little Shop of Horrors fanzine tends to be the source material a lot of the time. Those fanzines tend to be where they pull the interview quotes from in all of these books. But Kinsey is all over that, and he's pretty good at quoting relevant material where necessary. Very details orientated writer. In terms of the others here, I mean, this one is a bit throwaway, to be honest. It's a bit throwaway. But these two, the Encyclopedia of Hammer Films, and this one, the Exhaustive Filmography, are pretty comprehensive. This one pulls from the Little Shop of Horrors too quite a lot, I noticed. This one a little bit less so, but pretty much between those 5 books there and one or two others I used, you pretty much get everything you'd ever want to know about hammer there. But if you want to only get 1 or 2, it's these ones that you want to get. All right, so a little bit kind of higgledy-piggledy, but there we are. I'm on my phone. I try to clean. Everybody always tells me my phone's got a smudge on it, but there we are. Let me know if you've got any questions, if I missed anything. Oh, Quatermass in the Pit. Quatermass in the Pit is actually on here, but the Quatermass Experiment and Quatermass 2 are not. And I have not been able to find a UK edition of those anywhere, but they are available for free on Amazon Prime if you've got a membership with Amazon Prime, which I do. So you can watch Quatermass on there, but for some reason you can't get them in Blu-ray. You can in America and you can in Australia, but you can't here in Blighty, which is a bizarre situation. But like, you know, I'm not forking out for US import Shout Factory releases. You know, I may have got into Hammer, but not that much yet. Maybe there'll be a day where I'll get the Shout Factory ones. All right, hopefully this was at least somewhat helpful to anybody looking for Hammer stuff. Like I said, if you're a US fan, the Shout Factory stuff is best in class there. Although I'm led to believe Blu-ray is region free, so you may have less trouble, but don't quote me on that. All right. So long for now, everyone. Have a good weekend.
If you liked this video, be sure to like and subscribe. You can join the channel for thousands of hours of past shows in the archive and hundreds of videos. If you have any questions, you can leave a super chat or a super thanks, and I'll be sure to pick it up during my weekly office hours, which run every Tuesday afternoon. I also provide courses at the academic agency, which I encourage people to buy. Thousands of students now have taken the Trivium to improve their skills in writing, logic and rhetoric. Just 3 of many courses available. Buy it now. But most importantly of all, friends, get out.